behind it to nourish your mind, to nourish your soul, to nourish your body, right? So it all starts within the mind, and then you start nourishing everything else, because through you feeling more open.
Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, just gonna check Facebook here, make sure everything's working good, because technology is challenging us today.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everything. It's like, it's challenges in everything.
Okay, great. So we are live in the group. Ladies, if you're joining the live,
Yay!
please comment below and say hello to us, because we would love to say hello to your beautiful faces. And I'm so excited. We are on day 3 and I'm with the beautiful Melissa Mejia, and she is all things redefining nutrition with us today. So I'm so excited for this conversation, and I would love for you to just introduce yourself and tell the women inside the summit just a little bit more about you.
Yes, perfect. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Samantha, for opening this up. And of course, having the summit. This is amazing. It's been so amazing. I want to give you oh my gosh, you've been so on top of it. It's been so amazing to watch you. It's so awesome, because I actually had my own summit a month ago. So I know exactly how this is and how it feels and all of this. So congratulations to you. I just wanted to give you some of love right there. But I am Melissa Mejia. So I am Melissa Mejia, and I am a personal trainer, functional nutritional therapy practitioner is a very long name, but you can just say FNTP. I also hold 2 other nutrition certifications and also I'm a pre and postnatal coach. So overall, I do a lot of the holistic health. That's what I do, and that's what I'm about. And I'm so excited to be here, because I really am here to help women redefine what health means to them, and to help them step into their power so they can finally unapologetically own themselves. And it's not so much on what they do, but really owning who they are from the inside out. And what I've come to learn is that when we start owning ourselves from the inside, everything starts making sense after. The nutrition starts flowing, the workouts start going. Like, you don't even need the motivation anymore to do the workouts and have to be so on with nutrition, because it gets to flow for you.
Of course. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, I'm just like so excited for this conversation.
Yes,
Hi,
hello,
Kara.
Kara.
Hi, Gina. How are you, gorgeous ladies? Okay, so we'll just dive right in. So, Melissa, why do you believe it's important for women to build their confidence?
Oh, goodness. Confidence. So I believe, especially when it comes to building our confidence, especially when we are looking into diving into ourselves, right? Learning more about ourselves, it's really important to really hold our word to ourselves. And that's how we build confidence towards really redefining what that means to you, right? It can be you showing up for yourself for a workout one time this week, or it could be you drinking enough water for today, right? Whatever it is that you do in your life, it's going to create that confidence within. And one of the biggest things that I've really come to really see is that the more confident we are in ourselves, the more confident we are of our reflection, everything starts to just flow in our life. And the more that happens, the happier we are, of course, because it just gets to be better and better for us.
I love that so much, because like even just drinking enough water, and you can increase your confidence, and then you can start showing up in other ways. So I love that so much.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And just from piggybacking of what you just said, the biggest thing is that it's not, confidence doesn't just come out in the like thin air and you're like, hey, I'm confident today. And it's like, oh, and it just confidence happens. Confidence is you building it through you being and taking the courage or taking the leap for you to say, it's time for me to show up in my life. It's time for me to show up in my world, right? However that looks like for you and however it looks like in your life, right? Because I know and I understand that not everyone's life is going to be the same. And imagine if it was, that would be so boring. But the best part about it is that you get to see how you can be confident in your own life through your own lens. And the more confident we have and the more women that are confident in their life, heck, this world would be so happy.
I agree 100%. This world would be so much more amazing if women just like sat within themselves and built their confidence, because you're right. Confidence does not come out of nowhere and you have to work at it. So I love all the women that have joined the summit to help all the women that have signed up to build their confidence in so many different areas. And this really is a great way for any woman to build their confidence. Hell, even I used to be a nutrition and a fitness coach, and I have you and Dari come in and I'm like, hey, I still love learning from other women that are in the industry that I used to be in, because you guys have a different experience and knowledge and education than I do. So there's always something new to learn. And you guys have built your confidence in a different way that I have. So I love just collaborating with you, incredible women in the summit.
Yes. And that's the best part, right? The best part of it all is that it gets like we all are looking towards the same thing, like gaining confidence, but they're all different ways of getting confident. And the best part is that you get to vibe of this person or vibe of this person. You take a little bit from this, and then you can take a little bit from Daria, you can take a little bit from Samantha, you get to take a little bit from Kara, whoever is here, right? Really gaining that confidence, and then you can mold it to yourself. And that's the most important thing when it comes to you gaining that confidence, is that it doesn't have to be and it doesn't have to look a certain way. And it's not about like, oh, this is a cookie cutter thing, but it's like, how can it be for you? Where can you start to feel confident? Where do you feel like you need to gain confidence in?
Of course. And talking about individual experiences, what is the most confident thing that you've ever done?
This is so awesome. Okay, give me a second. What is the most confident thing I've ever done? Yes, okay, got it. So funny enough, I actually have a 1-year-old son. You can maybe see the background picture of him right here. And I actually was pregnant with him. I did not know this, but the most confident thing I've ever done is have a photo shoot with just a sheet and my godly self with no clothes on. And that was the most confident thing I've done. And I was with someone, and it was my first time ever meeting her in person. Like, I've heard about this photographer, and she is like a photographer that's about 40 minutes away from where I live. And I just vibed with her, and I was like, oh, I love your energy. And she was giving this like back in December 2018. And I went to Michael, who is Bear's dad and my boyfriend. And I went to him and I was like, I want to do this. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just want to do a photo shoot with just the sheet and myself. And he was like, that's extremely sexy, but what? And I was like, I don't know, man. So I did it. And funny enough, when we had the shoot, it was like in January 2019. And he actually gifted me this for Christmas. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I ended up actually being pregnant during that time that we did the photo shoot and everything. But I had no idea. And I felt like the sexiest. I felt like the most confident. Like, you could have never, ever, ever imagined me naked and ever in the eternity of the universe. And I posted some pictures like here and there, and women are like, what? And I was like, well, hell, look at me. Like, I don't know. That's the most confident thing I've done.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, seriously, there's nothing like so empowering than doing like a photo shoot like that or doing a boudoir shoot. I've done a few myself, and seriously, like the first time I was like so nervous, and like the more that I've done it, I'm like, I love this and I feel so sexy. And then I get the picture back and I'm
Yes.
like, damn, okay, like look at me looking all sexy.
Yes, exactly. And funny enough too, like look at we're having this story. I actually have a one of them because I actually did a boudoir. I can't say it either because my accent. But I have one with I was pregnant. I was 8 months pregnant with him. And I told her, I was like, I want one while pregnant. And she's like, I've never done one while pregnant. And I was like, well, hello, I am the first one. So I have this one and I have a couple others, but and they're extremely sexy and it's like the best thing and I love them. I also love photo shoots and everything, but I would have never done this in the past ever.
That is so incredible. I know there's not very many women that want to do a boudoir shoot while they're pregnant, but honestly, it's like even though you're growing this human inside of you and you might not be a huge fan of the way that you look, you are still sexy pregnant.
Yes, so sexy and so confident. I actually felt the most confident while I was pregnant. And I understand not everyone has the same experience, right? But the experience of being able to bring someone else into life, like into the world, it's like, well, it was mind blowing for me. So I was so thankful because I don't know how my next experience might be for my next pregnancy. What if I don't like it? And I could potentially not like it, right? So I was like, I'm going to make this happen because you don't know. You don't know how it goes. And the thing is with confidence, it goes up and down. It's not that you have confidence and then you're like, oh, I never am going to work on my confidence ever again. Confidence is something that you keep on building up, right? But can also sometimes it can be like, wow, I don't feel confident today. It's not like you feel confident every day. It's like, I don't feel confident today. Okay, let me revisit. Why don't I feel confident? It could be through your nutrition you don't feel confident in. You don't feel confident with your workouts. You don't feel confident with, let's say, for example, the habits that you have every day. And the more you dive into these, especially when it comes to what's going on, what's stopping me, then you're able to see, okay, I really got to start really working towards my nutrition again, or really start going XYZ. So I gained that confidence back because if you already had it once, you can have it again. And one thing I want to say before I just even dive into nutrition is that we are born worthy. We are born enough. We are born more than that's our confidence, right? Being and knowing that we're worthy already. And the thing is, like, I look at my son and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love you so much. And he's not asking himself, why do you love me? Like,
Yeah.
he's not asking himself like anything. He just knows he is loved. He knows that he's just confident in that because he has that, right? There's that confidence within him. But as we grow up, we lose that confidence within ourselves. And that travels to everything else that we do in life, especially when it comes to our health and wellness.
Of course. So, since we're talking nutrition and this dreaded diet culture that we live in our society, where do you start in just redefining nutrition for women? Because I remember growing up and seeing all these magazines where it's like, oh, like this is how you lose 15 pounds fast. And like, here's all these diets and just overwhelming when we're so young. They start us so young.
Yes, exactly. And this is again the feeling of like, oh, if they're doing it this way, so then that means that if I look at myself and I don't look like that, I'm not even worthy of having a photo shoot. I'm not even worthy or confident. Like you're not worthy of having any of this. So the confidence will come down. So the biggest thing that I especially teach my women that I work and the clients that I worked with in the past and now is for in order for you to redefine your nutrition is you have to start looking at where you are at the moment and what is holding you back. Because the thing is, it looks like and it feels like differently for everyone. And I don't believe in cookie cutter approaches. We know that because it doesn't work, because the diet culture has given us so many. And we know that they don't work, right? 1,200 calories. We're talking about having like 5 to 6 meals a day. When you can be so stressed out about the fact that you can't even have 5 or 6 meals a day. All of these things brings more and more of the doing instead of us feeling more and more confident within us. So one of the biggest things that I do for my women to start redefining their nutrition is to actually go to within, to start to listen to themselves again. Because think about it, like if we were again, and I like to give a lot of examples with the baby because I watch him every day, but for them, it's like, I want this or I don't want this. I am done with this. Like, and with, especially with food, it's like, oh, I want to eat more or I don't want to eat more. And they throw it because they're like, they're over it. They're done. But we've been so conditioned to say, you have to finish this. You have to eat this. That have to do it. And it should look like this. It should be like this. When in reality, it's like, we know intuitively, we know inside what we need. But because of the outside noise, because of diet culture, we've been too conditioned to do things that we can't even stop and listen to ourselves anymore.
Oh yes, we get so lost on, and we get like this tunnel vision that it's like, oh, I need to have this result, but it's like, okay, well, why do I need this result? Why is it so important to me? And then you can dig deeper and it's like, oh, well, I don't like the way that my body looks. Okay, well, why not? What's wrong with your body? And then like you get deeper and deeper, and then they're just like, oh, well, no, I've always been worthy. And we have to like teach that to women, because we're almost like taught that we're not worthy through this crazy, stupid diet culture. If you're not like a size whatever, or if you don't like look like this and have this body shape, and it's like, no, every woman is worthy.
Exactly. And the best, like, I couldn't even imagine a world where we would all look the same. That is not a world I would love to be a part of, right? We wouldn't know better, but it reminds me of this like movie, The Stepford Wives, I believe it's the name. And it's like this movie of these women that all look the same, blonde hair, like it's a petite look of how diet culture actually has brought us to be, or not just diet culture, but the culture itself, the European culture was like brought here. And it's like, this is how you should look like. That was one thing that I had when I was younger. Like I would look around and I'm like, what am I? And I'm from Colombia, so my hair is like jet black, right? I had glasses, I had braces, I was taller than everyone. I developed more than everyone. So I was like looking around and I was like, what is happening? Like, is there something wrong with me? And that's what I felt for so long, that there was something wrong with me. So of course I tried to get into the mold, right? The mold of diet culture, the mold of how I should look like, how I should eat, right? Because that's how they're eating. So I should eat the same because I want to look like that. But in reality, it's not even what I wanted at the end of the day. And that's the biggest thing, ladies. Like when we are wanting to redefine our nutrition, we got to look at it. Why do we want to redefine it for us? Like, what is the true reason why we want to start doing this? Because many of us are like, oh, I want to lose the weight. And you're like, okay, but why do you want to lose the weight? Like, what's going on? And it's like, well, I don't feel confident right now. And you're like, okay, you don't feel confident right now, but why don't you feel confident? What is really the thing that's really stopping you from even being confident right now? What is it? What do you feel? And a lot of times it's the habits that we maybe have not even thought about. And you're like, oh, wow, that could be so simple and that could be so easy for me. But I didn't have that for a long time. And that's how it goes many times.
Oh yes, I can totally relate to that. Being someone that recovered from an eating disorder and just completely miserable with the way that I look back at my preteen and teenager self and the way that my body looked, and it's like, like, why did I think that about myself? Like,
Yeah.
as much as I love this body that I'm in right now, I'm like, I would love to have that body. And
Yeah.
like just learning to love your body at all sizes and shapes, and doesn't matter what the number on your dress size is so important, because like if I didn't care about that back then I wouldn't have been starving myself and binge eating and hiding all my crazy disordered eating habits from everyone else, because I was just
Mm.
so miserable. And I could have healed myself from that so much sooner, but I didn't intuitively go into myself and figure out why I was unhappy.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. Like, I can give you all the how-tos, right? Like, I can be like, you have protein, you have X, Y, Z, and we know that. Like, we know that as a society. Like, we know that protein, we need more protein. We know that we need more vegetables. We know we need water. Like, we know these things, right? So if I come here and I'm like, okay, well, you need just, in order for you to redefine nutrition, let's just talk about the protein intake. Like, you're like, I've already listened to this. Like, I already know that. And we all know that. So the difference here is that you are going from within first and you're starting with the mindset foundation. So then you can then be open to then learning the same thing you might have learned somewhere else, but now you have it more in like, oh wow, I am worthy to have more nutrition. Oh wow, I am worthy to have more vegetables in my food and my plate. Like, I'm worthy of having whole foods. Like, okay, that's amazing. I wouldn't have seen it that way before. It's not just this is what you should do for nutrition. It's really the intentionality behind it, to nourish your mind, to nourish your soul, to nourish your body, right? So it all starts within the mind, and then you start nourishing everything else, because through you feeling more open and more in love with what you do and what you're doing, the more you're going to do it because you're more in love with it.
Yes, completely. When you love that, and then you can give yourself more food and give yourself that permission, because really we only need the permission from ourselves to, if you're still hungry, yeah, finish that plate of food or go get seconds. Like, it's okay, especially now that Thanksgiving is coming up for you guys here in the US, because we already had our Canadian Thanksgiving in October, but it's a real struggle for some women, because they're like, oh, well, like it's going to make me gain 5 pounds and I don't want to gain holiday weight. And it's like, that's okay. Your weight is supposed to
Yes,
fluctuate. Like,
yes, yes. And that's the thing. Like, it is okay. Like, what happens? It's okay. Like, you're going to feel stress. Like, and you're going to gain some, like, it's all bound to happen. But the biggest things is for you, like, to still see, like, even if you gained weight, even if your nutrition was down this week, you're still worthy. The
mhm.
confidence hasn't plummeted. It hasn't left anywhere. You're still here, you're still good, you're still alive, and you're okay. Because this is the thing, like, we feel at many times like, oh wow, if I don't do my plan or my nutrition plan 100%, I failed. And you feel like a failure, and then you end up feeling like, well, why am I even doing this then? I shouldn't even do it, because if I'm failing at this and it has to be perfect because we have a in our mind what perfection looks like, then what am I going to do next? Like, what is it, right? So the real reality of this is that in order for you to really slay your goals, in order for you to crush your goals, it all starts from within. That inner deep confidence within yourself, to be open to, like, to seeing, like, if it's not perfect, okay, how can I change this? If it's not how it looks like, it's not your failing, but you're just learning through the process. And then you learn and you can start changing the, like, you can move the chess pieces, and then you can be better the next time, and it always happens, and you can keep going, and it's like, whoa, life changing.
Completely. And you literally just answered my next question, because I was just going to ask you, what advice or encouragement would you give to someone struggling to get off that diet train? And you just answered it. So, damn, girl, you just read my mind.
Thank you. Thank you. And you just saying that, another thing is like, again, we have to start first with the mindset. And I would love to tell you, well, this is the thing. Like you do this, and if you eat this and you do that, then you will just get the body you desire, or you will get the thing you desire. And the thing is, when it comes to nutrition, we usually don't pay attention to our nutrition until something, an outside thing is like you want an outside goal. So for example, it could be like you wanting to release some weight, or you want to fit into something, right? Like into a dress or into a pants or something like that. But what if you can just want to just eat better for you? Like, what would it look like if you just wanted to just feel confident with your food? What would it look like if you just wanted to change the way you saw food? What if you actually wanted to start nourishing your body first, instead of thinking, I'm going to do this for this reason, right? Because that's a lot of times why we start in the health and wellness space anyway. Because you're like, oh, I want to release weight, or when I hear I want to be strong, I'm like, yes. Because that's something that you don't hear often. You usually hear like, oh, I'm not happy within my body.
Mhm.
So if I focus on my nutrition, and if I focus on my workouts, I'm going to be happy. But I keep hearing, believe, and I see the shift that is happening from the diet culture to now more of a positive body movement, and just a movement overall towards more confidence, that women are now coming out because they're like, I just want to feel more confident within myself. And I'm like, yes, I love that. I want to gain more confidence in the kitchen so I don't feel overwhelmed. And I'm like, awesome. You want to simplify it. That's amazing, right? Because it's not solely for the results of just a physical part of it, but it's like you want that mind, body, and soul transformation, right? That goes from within, and it's like life changing.
Totally. Totally. So, Melissa, how can women build their confidence by redefining what nutrition means to them?
So it all starts with us, as how we see ourselves.
Mhm.
So as we are looking at ourselves, and like are we see as we see the reflection upon ourselves of who we are, right? If we don't like who we see, then how are we going to even want to nourish our body? How are we even going to make the choices to love our body? Like it just doesn't make sense. So we are feeding a body that we don't even like. So of course we're going to be making the choices that might not be the best choices for us, because we're like, well, might as well, right? It's like that, might as well do it. It's here, might as well do it. Instead of looking at like, what if I started to shift my inner self, right? And start to first work on my inner confidence, and start to really work on myself. What would happen with my food? And I can tell you what would happen, because I see it with my clients all the time, and I see it with me, and I saw it with me, that I started to notice more like, oh, that doesn't make me feel good. That food doesn't make me feel good. Okay, what can I change? That doesn't make me feel like, it makes me feel tired. It makes me feel bloated, right? So it's like, okay, what can I change? And again, I can just give you, okay, this is XYZ. This is how much protein you should eat. And that's all bio individual. Yes, that all matters. That is very important for you, especially if you're wanting to release weight or get stronger at the gym. Like that is all important. But the big key thing is for you to focus first on your like inner self, to gain that inner confidence, and start from within, so you can then feel like, of course I'm going to take the time to go to the store and buy food for me, because I am worth it. I am worth doing that. I am worth spending a little bit more money for fruit and for vegetables. And that's something that I've really worked on with my clients in the past and even recently. And they're like, wow, I could never see it that way, because I just thought that I just wanted to be easy. Like I just wanted to grab and go, when it was really the thing of that I would just never felt like I could slow down for myself. Like I could always go and give for others, but I couldn't really do that for me. And I'm like, that's not the way. That's not a way to do this. We got to do it from with you first. And then you can, that's how we start redefining nutrition. It's not the XYZ. It's really starting from the mindset point of it.
Oh, I love that. I just love that, because I remember when like carbohydrates, like a couple of years ago, people were like, they're so bad for you. So bad. And I was literally like, why? I love carbs. I love bread. Like, don't take that away. And I love bread. I will like make sure I have carbs in all my meals because it's a food that I just love to eat. And
we should eat it.
I'm like, I'm not giving that up. It's good for my brain. The brain feeds off of carbohydrates. And I'm like,
yes,
screw that. I'm going to be a cranky bitch if I don't get carbs.
Exactly. And that's so true. That's 1,000% true. And I love that you said that, because that's another thing, right? Like the hearing of like the other thing of like, oh, fats, right? Like carbs, fat, like we'll take away a whole food group. And you're like, if you're taking away a whole food group, don't you think that that food group is there for a reason? It wouldn't exist if we didn't need it for some reason. Exactly. So it's like, we also have to think about it sometimes, because sometimes the things people say, or like what gets out there, you're just like, what? It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, and I used to be that woman. I used to be the no carbohydrates. I used to be hangry, cranky, bitch. Like I used to be horrible. Like I used to work at a gym, and I used to be in this, and I will never forget it. I used to be in this, like it wasn't a prep, it wasn't like a bikini prep, but it was towards a vacation, because I am where I am now because of everything that I have done in the past, right? So I teach everyone from experience of my own life. So for me, I had years upon years of restrictive, like really, really restrictive dieting, really restrictive calorie consumption. I'm talking about 1,200 less, and I would work out 2 to 3 hours a day. And then, of course, I would also have very disordered eating. So I had a lot of binging, right? And I had a lot of disordered exercising from it. So I didn't think that there was something bad about it, because you would see it and you would hear about it all the time. You'd be like, oh yeah, like you would eat a whole pizza. Let's think about how many calories we just ate, and then let's go run after. What? I used to do all of this, right? Like talking about it now, I'm like, oh goodness, thank gosh we're here, right? But I remember people would say they couldn't even talk to me, because I at this point was with like a diet, and it was so restrictive with calories, especially fats, that when it was like 2 hours and I was waiting for the like, because it was like a 3-hour ratio type of food, but it was in the 2.5 to 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and I was waiting for those 30 minutes. I was like, nobody talked to me, because I was so hangry and I hated everyone. And people would be like, what's wrong? Why are you so upset? And I'm a very awesome, nice person. Like, that's who I am. I'm very bubbly. And they were just like, what the? And this was like this for a long time. And we don't have to live life like that, right? We don't have to live life restricting ourselves from anything because someone says this. It's about really seeing like what works for you. Like, you love bread. Please have bread. Like, why are you not having bread? Like, if that's something you love, you have the bread. Now, could there be maybe better options of the bread that you could use? Possibly, right? There's so many out there now. So you'll find the one that works for you. For example, me, I love bread too. It's like my favorite. But gluten doesn't do well with me. I get like really bad, like I start getting like really like not hives, but in my hands I get like some like it's like a reaction that I get to gluten. So I don't have gluten often, but I choose a gluten-free bread. Now, do I have a piece of bread every day? Yup. Sometimes do I have like 2 or 3? Yep. Do I still feel good? Do I still own my nutrition and my confidence? Yep. So like, yeah, that's what I got for you.
Oh my gosh, this conversation has been so incredible. I love talking about all this stuff.
Me too, especially because again, we're redefining what it looks like for all of us. We're redefining nutrition, we're redefining what motivation even eat is, right? We're redefining every single thing so we can gain confidence and glow.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing all your expertise. But before we wrap everything up, I would love for you to share the freebie that you contributed to the summit and your paid offer that's inside the Glow Up Bundle as well.
Yes, I'm so excited. So what I contributed to is called the Slay Masterclass. So this awesome masterclass is about 45 minutes to an hour of me giving you all the confidence vibes you can get. It's like the confidence for you to own yourself, for you to own everything, because it all starts from the foundation of you knowing that you're a slay. Like you are going to crush it no matter what. Like you are confident no matter what. You are like you own that. And as you trust that and as you see that, you're like everything you're in your life, you start to see it. Okay, I really got to work on my nutrition, or I really got to work on my fitness. Like you get to see how you can develop each thing in your life. So the masterclass has been amazing. It brought so much wisdom to a lot of the women. So I was like, this is a masterclass to share. So I share that within the space. And also as well, you also get, I have a program that's called And She Is Strong, which is a fitness and also a love, like a like a mindset confidence type of program. And this is a blend of you owning your fitness and also owning yourself. And this is where you can start to really redefine the relationship you have with yourself and fitness, and of course, also nutrition. And with that, in this offer, in the bundle, I also have you get $111 off from my program so you could really become the slay you came here to be.
Love that. Okay, well, this has been so incredible. I appreciate you so much for being a part of the summit and bringing your expertise to the table, literally, for nutrition.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's been so amazing. And ladies, don't get so caught up with what to do with nutrition. Start with really seeing why you're doing it first. Start really seeing what is really holding you back, and then go from there. But always go from the place of desire and love for yourself instead of wanting to reach a certain number on the scale or wanting to reach a certain size, right? Always start with a desire that you have to gain more confidence within instead of looking for the outside sources.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you to pieces.
Thank you
And
so much.
this conversation has been absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much. And ladies, we have another interview later today, and then we're only on day 3. So there's still 4 more days of the summit. So hang tight because more incredible conversations like this one are coming your way. But I will see you guys later today.